I was almost taken by the party clown, inspired by the John Wayne Gacy murders. I remember my 12th birthday because it's the last time I ever felt completely safe in my own house. We didn't have much money, but my parents wanted to do something special, so they hired a clown, one from a flyer pinned to the corkboard at the grocery store. Affordable, family-friendly, parties only. That's what it said. He arrived early. I remember that clearly. The doorbell rang before the guests showed up. My dad opened the door, and there he was, already in costume. Full makeup, big shoes, red nose, a painted smile that didn't move when he spoke. He crouched down to my height and said, "You must be the birthday boy." His voice was calm, too calm, like he'd practiced it. He told us to call him Pogo. The party started normally. Balloons, cake, music playing from a radio on the counter, kids running through the living room like a stampede. Pogo stayed close, always close. He made balloon animals, but never handed them out randomly. He chose who got one. He'd pause, scan the room, then point. "You," he'd say, then smile. At the time, it felt special. Looking back, it felt like being selected. My mom pulled out the camera not long after the cake came out. I remember the flash warming my face as she lifted it. Before she could take the picture, Pogo stepped between us. "No photos," he said, still smiling. "Oh, okay," my mom said, lowering the camera. She laughed, but it sounded forced. "That's fine." "Pictures ruin the magic," Pogo said. Then he looked at me. "Don't they?" I nodded because I didn't know what else to do. As the party went on, I started noticing things. How he always positioned himself near doorways. How he watched kids instead of the parents. How his eyes moved, slow and deliberate, like he was counting us over and over again. At one point, he leaned down and whispered in my ear, "Do you know a secret trick?" I shook my head. "If you stay very still," he said, "people forget you're there." I laughed, but my stomach twisted when he said it. Near the end of the party, when parents were distracted and kids were getting picked up, he asked me something I didn't understand at the time. "Do you ever help your dad with work?" he asked. I told him sometimes. He nodded. "You're strong for your age." Then he placed a hand on my shoulder. Heavy, grounding. "I could use someone like you." Before I could respond, my mom called my name from the kitchen. Pogo's hand slipped away instantly. The party ended. Kids left. The balloons sagged. The cake dried out on paper plates. Pogo changed out of his costume in the bathroom. When he came out, he didn't look like a clown anymore. No makeup, no smile painted on, just a heavy-set man in plain clothes, carrying the costume folded neatly under his arm like it mattered to him. He looked at me one last time. No smile, just recognition, like we were sharing a secret no one else could see. I remember watching him walk down the driveway. He never waved back. Years passed. I was 14 when his face appeared on the television. Police lights, mugshots, reporters speaking in hushed voices. They said his name, John Wayne Gacy. They talked about bodies beneath the house, about missing boys, about how he worked as a contractor, about how he performed at parties. Then they played a clip of his voice. "Hello, everyone," he said, smiling for the cameras. "I never hurt anyone I didn't know." The room felt like it tilted. That voice. I knew it. I didn't hear the rest of the broadcast. My ears were ringing too loudly. That night, I remembered everything at once. The counting, the choosing, the way he never let the camera click. I realized the photos weren't about privacy. They were about proof. Evidence. I wasn't just a guest at that party. I was an option, a possibility. Something that could have gone differently if my mom hadn't called my name when she did. Sometimes I imagine an alternate version of that day. One where the house is quieter. One where my parents are distracted. one where he asks me to help carry something to his car. And sometimes, late at night, I wake up convinced I hear his voice again, soft, patient, telling me to stay still. Because if I do, people might forget I'm there. And somewhere deep down, I know he didn't need photos. He remembered us just fine. If this story stuck with you, don't ignore that feeling. Subscribe for more true event-inspired horror that doesn't let go. New stories weekly. No warnings. No escape. Good night. And lock your doors.